Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, he played in the NFL, but he's found a better playbook. It's called the Bible. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team. And the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So I have so much respect for anybody who made it to the elite level of being in the NFL. Think about that, getting through high school, college, to go to the pros, get drafted, play in the NFL. That's every schoolboy's dream, and that was Israel's dream. My next guest is Israel Mbanabaragu. He's played for many teams, including the Cowboys. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Well, you have a new ministry, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But I want to take people back through your NFL career. Where are you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Nigeria.
And was American football a big thing in Nigeria?
No, actually, my story or my dream began years ago when I saw a picture of an NFL player, when I was 13 years old. And I was drawn to the pads, drawn to just the look of an NFL player because part of my passion is, I love samurai, so an NFL player reminded me of a samurai warrior. And that was what drew me to wanting to play the NFL, was just the warrior look and the mindset.
Absolutely. And we've got a page off of, I think it's a trading card company that if we scroll down it, we can see, man, you cover of magazines, and that you were the #1 pick for the 49ers.
Yes.
That had to be a heady experience for you.
It was, but then I wasn't really thinking about it because I am of the mind that I'm not just happy to be in the room, I bring value, and the fact that it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen was an awakening for me, and I like to tell people that in Nigeria I had a dream, but when I came to America, I woke up, to a new dream that God was introducing me to.
Well, let me ask you this, because, in this life, we make certain things important. We make fame and fortune and glory and touchdowns.
Yes. Yep.
Did you find yourself getting caught in that trap at all?
I was, to tell you the truth. I was caught in the trap of my own ambitions, my own desires. It goes a little bit, deep. We don't have all day because I'll tell you, one of my driving forces of wanting to play football. My dad did quite well for himself, and I wanted to do quite well for myself outside of him. I came to America with just $500 in my pocket and a connection, so wanting to be an NFL superstar, wanting to hold the Lombardi Trophy, that was my goal. I wanted to go to the Super Bowl. I just didn't want to go to the NFL. And when that didn't materialize, that's when, the ministry really took place of, God, opening me up to, I like to say God deconstructed, my concept of ambition.
Now, when you were playing, were you religious at all? Did you go to church? Was it God a part of your life?
Yes, God was a part of my life, always has been. My mom, told me before I came here that I was going to go into ministry. That was, something that, even my name, Israel, was not something she came up with. She told me it was a name that was given to her. Wow. So I've always been drawn to God. But when I came to America, the ambition, I wanted to be successful, wanted to do the best that I can do, to show my dad that I can be, more time, just like him without his help.
Yes.
Was something that drove me that I wanted to just follow that path to be the best that I can be.
And you told me that you when you played for the Cowboys, you got a locker right next to Emmitt Smith.
Yes, yes, I did. Yes, that was one of the I call a favor, because I was just a rookie. I was not a rookie. I was a free agent, rehabbing from an ACL, MCL injury, and so when they went to the Cowboys, I'm sitting next to Emmitt Smith, and a few lockers from me was Randall Cunningham. So for the months that I was with the Cowboys during the Dave Campos, year, I was, seeing, I spoke to Emmett. He's very gracious. The real deal, if you say, as a human being, because that's what matters.
I love to hear that. Yeah. And the old saying is the reason there's a hole in the roof of the stadium is so God can watch his favorite team play. But in a way, we do make gods out of celebrity players, and so I could see how it's easy to fall into that trap.
It is, actually for me, I was blinded by my own ambitions, and I forgot to mention that I told God that I wanted to play football for 5 years, and after that go into, productions, script writing, having my own business. That was my idea. When I count all the years that I spent with football, it was exactly 5 years. Which is another thing. If any kid listening right now, don't short-circuit yourself, because I did, But God used all of that, my blind ambitions of wanting to be, the best that I can be, wanting to prove to my father that yes, I can do it.
Yes.
And that can-do attitude sometimes can be, blinding. In one of my sermons. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it occurred to me that, at the time you got injured, that was probably the most horrible thing that you could imagine for your life. But it turned out to be a blessing. You would not have been rerouted into another direction.
Yes, I mentioned how God deconstructed my own ambitions. That's one of the ways he deconstructed my own ambitions. We discover who your friends are when things really, doesn't go the way you want it. So you discover who you're truly made of. I always had this saying, that football or sports doesn't build character, it reveals character. It actually deconstructs you so that it can unveil what is within you, that what God has put within me. Before I came to America, my mom put in the word that she was given about, my purpose. I covered that up with my fame, with my pursuit of fame, with my pride, with my ego, and then God deconstructed all of that to reveal to me, Israel, this is who you really are. Beyond the fame, beyond, even your failure in the NFL, that I've called you for something greater. It's hard to accept that, when you're going through it, because every man around you, all the women around you, people around you all acknowledge achievement as the essence of humanity. But the essence of humanity is the breath of God. Those are the things that, God started to unveil, to me.
That's powerful. We've got some video of you speaking, and I'd like to kind of dive into some of your subjects. I know one thing that you're very passionate about is the idea that we all as humans are connected. Share, please.
Yes, that, came to me when I realized that I was formed in my way. And I like to use the word deconstruction, because I was formed in my culture. I was formed in my politics. I was formed in my religion. And many of us, that's what we are. We are all formed in our culture, in our politics, in our religion. But when you encounter Christ, the essence of Christ, that fades the way to reveal the soul. Because the soul is where we are connected.
Well, I'll tell you something that made me sad. So the pandemic happened, and now it's not black versus white, U.S. versus Russia. It's really the whole planet is on timeout, and I really felt like God put us all on timeout. So you guys are just Democrat versus Republican. It's all nonsense. Okay, let's get the whole humanity fighting a common enemy, and yet we didn't unite. In fact, if anything, we're probably more divided than ever before.
So true, and that's what's sad about it. Sometimes God would awaken us to a new reality, but in order for you to experience a new reality, to be truly born again, frankly, you have to overcome your culture.
Yes.
You have to overcome your politics. You have to overcome your religion. That's why Christ said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men. You have to be unconditional to draw all men. You know,
Well, I'll tell you something my
Yes.
son gave to me one day. I come into the world with this big smile, and people tend to like me. And so I said to my son, I said, hey, Dallas, why do people like us so much? And without missing a beat, he says, because we see God in people. And it stopped me in my tracks, Israel. I said, say that again.
Yeah.
He says, because we see God in people.
That's
And I
beautiful.
think that's your message, is that we are all God's creatures.
We are all God's creatures. And remember this, when God made man, the man is the clay. The breath is who you are. And the breath is formless, which is the soul. The soul is formless.
Yes.
And I like to say this, before I became, a black man, before you became a white man, before you became a Republican, a Democrat, before you became whatever part of the world you are in, God knew you.
Yes.
You were the breath of God. And that's the essence of what Christ was trying to remind us.
Yes.
But if we're not careful, our ambitions, cultural, and any other personal ambitions we have will cover everything
Yes.
God is doing. And the soul will be buried underneath it. That's why I say satisfied soul, because the soul knows from where it came from.
Yes. Okay, so I should tell you that Israel at one point wanted to be a filmmaker, and he makes these little mini movies that
Yes.
I found one of them on social media. Let's go ahead and roll it.
The pursuit of happiness is an illusion. The idea that you can find that thing that makes you happy. The truth is, when you get it, you want more. It's never enough. It's never enough. So I'm beginning to realize that happiness is actually the construction of our ego. It is our ego's desire to put us in a perpetual need for more.
That is so powerful. You enjoy doing that, don't you?
I do. I think what's one of the gifts God has given to me. I like preaching, obviously, but I also like creating, behind the cameras, directing. So I look forward to, working with various people to tell the story. Jesus Christ, told the greatest story through parables. Parables was the essence of how Christ told his story, because then everyone, beyond culture, beyond politics, beyond religion, can really tap into the soul and the essence of what Christ is saying.
So your company is called Satisfy Soul.
Yes.
Tell us how you came up with the name.
Great. I was I was cut loose by Dave Campos. I went back to USC to get my degree, and I remember driving home. I'm driving to school one day, and out of frustration, I yelled in my car, "God, speak to me! You've taken away everything. And I'm here by myself. Because I don't have family. Here." And that night, I fell into what I call a trance, and I saw that dream of a big pile of debris. If you go to my website, that's what a big pile of debris. And then I saw a hand descending into the debris and pulling out a rag, and on the rag, the word satisfy soul. In other words, God was telling me that your true essence is not all of your ambitions. It's not all of the things you thought that was going to make you. I used all of that to bring you to America. And he was trying to unveil to me that this is why I brought you here. This is why you're here. Because I say to everyone, you that you're watching, I don't care where you are, I don't care what you think, that you've been through. You are an answer to a prayer. You are here because somebody prayed. You are here because before the foundations of the world, God knew that you have a message that the world needs. And that's how all of us collectively, make up this idea that the earth is full with my glory. We are all supposed to,
And I think your message would resonate with crowds all over the planet. Where are you being called to preach? Is there an audience that you have in mind when you wake up in the morning, or is it anybody?
Right now, I would say, being that I used to be in the business world, it's for anybody. It's for the young, it's for the old, it's for, because God is timeless. Whatever speaks to the soul transcends age. Whatever speaks to the soul transcends any of these things we think, oh, this is who I am. No, sir, no, man, that's not who you are. You are the soul. You are the essence of God. That's the beauty of it. So, wherever God puts me, because I speak to businessmen, I speak to churches, I speak to secular as well, because there's no need for us to hide what is beautiful.
If you could talk to a younger you, maybe the younger you who just got drafted by the 49ers and seemingly your dreams are all being realized, what would you tell that young man?
I would tell the young man something God told me in my dream. Hang in there, everything is going to be all right. And I thought that was a message that, he's really going to win the Lombardi trophy. He's really going to. No, I didn't know that God, like I said, I dreamt in Nigeria to come to America, to be an NFL warrior, be a superstar, and win a Lombardi trophy. But God woke me up to a greater dream. And that is his purpose on earth.
Well, I know one way that people can support your ministry, obviously, is to hire you as a speaker, but they can also support you with your online store. We're going to put up on the screen. Tell us about some of the gear that you're...
Yes, there's another gear that is Believe God. I have 4 daughters, and I noticed that a lot of, women, a lot of girls, they have a lot of insecurity issues. No matter how God, speaks into their life, sometimes they look at their own feminine energy as a negative. So that's why, what inspired that design, Believe God. And the other design is the breath of God.
Yes.
I like to remind people, hey, at the end of the day, your greatest achievement, if you ever want to call yourself an achievement, is that you're the breath of God. There's nothing you can create in this world that is great. There's nothing you can create in this world that is greater than that. Yeah.
So it occurs to me that your timing is perfect because we're coming up on New Year's resolutions, and everybody makes this resolution, and typically it's the same resolution. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get in shape. What resolution do you think people need to make?
Who are you? The key to abundant life, Christ said, I've come to give you life abundantly. The key to abundant life is knowing who you are. And it begins for you to separate yourself. Yes, I said something about culture, politics, and religions. Enjoy them, but don't be trapped in that box. Let that be your resolution, that I will live as the breath of God. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be asked, were you a good cultural person? Were you a good Democrat, a good Republican? Were you a good religious man? No, you're going to be asked one simple question. Did you know me? And the only way to know God is soul to soul, because he's the breath. And everything else you want, your purpose, your love, emanates from all of that. Yeah.
Israel, I think that is a drop the mic moment. It's a good way to end this show. We're going to also leave with the website, which is satisfysoul.life. Yes. Israel, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me here.
You bet.
Thank you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.